If you are shopping for a work ute in Australia right now, stop whatever you're doing and watch this video first, because one of the most popular options out there is quietly draining thousands of dollars from hardworking people every single year, and almost nobody is talking about it. We're talking about hidden costs, fuel bills that will make your jaw drop, and reliability issues that will leave you stranded on a job site at the worst possible time. Today on the Drive Intel, we are breaking down 5 of the biggest work utes available in Australia right now, and by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly which one gives you the best value and which one is a total money trap. So stay with me, because the one that most people think is the safe choice might actually be the one that surprises you the most, and not in a good way. Before we get into it, if you are new here, welcome to the Drive Intel. We do honest, no-nonsense breakdowns on cars, utes, and everything in between, so you can make smarter decisions with your money. Hit that like button right now and subscribe if you do not want to miss videos like this. We drop new content every week, and trust me, you do not want to fall behind on this stuff. All right, let us set the scene. Australia is one of the toughest markets in the world for work vehicles. Between the harsh outback conditions, the long highway runs, the heavy towing demands, and the brutal summer heat, a work ute needs to be more than just good-looking on paper. It needs to survive real-world punishment, keep running without costing a fortune in repairs, and actually hold its value when the time comes to sell or trade it in. So we looked at 5 of the most popular options right now: the Ford Ranger, the Toyota HiLux, the Mitsubishi Triton, the Isuzu D-Max, and the Volkswagen Amarok, and we compared them across 5 real categories: purchase price and on-road costs, fuel economy and real-world conditions, servicing and maintenance costs, reliability and common issues, and long-term resale value. These are the numbers that actually matter when you're putting a ute to work every single day. Let us start with the Ford Ranger, because it is the best-selling ute in Australia right now, and for a lot of people it feels like the obvious choice. The Ranger XLT starts around $64,000 before on-roads, and the Wildtrak trim pushes up towards $75,000. Now that sounds like a lot, but the Ranger does come loaded with features: adaptive cruise control, a big touchscreen, solid towing capacity of 3.5 tons, and a well-tuned suspension that handles both city roads and rough tracks surprisingly well. Ford has also updated the platform with the new generation model, and the turbo diesel engine is smooth and responsive. In real-world fuel testing, not the manufacturer numbers, the actual numbers people get driving to work sites, hauling gear, and doing highway runs, the Ranger averages somewhere between 9 and 11 liters per 100 kilometers, depending on load. That is reasonable for a full-size ute. Servicing costs come in at around $400 to $500 per service, and Ford has a capped price servicing plan that helps keep things predictable. The Ranger is not a money trap on its own, but here's where it gets interesting. Some owners have reported issues with the automatic gearbox, the infotainment system throwing up glitches, and turbo-related problems on high-mileage examples. It is not a deal breaker, but it is something to keep in mind, especially if you are planning to run this vehicle hard for 5 or more years. Now, let us talk about the Toyota HiLux, because no UT comparison in Australia is complete without it. The HiLux SR5 double cab sits around $62,000 to $68,000 on the road, which puts it right in competition with the Ranger. Toyota's reputation for reliability in Australia is not just marketing, it is earned. Talk to tradies in regional areas, farmers in Queensland, or construction crews in Western Australia, and the HiLux comes up again and again as the vehicle people trust when there is no mechanic for 200 kilometers. Real-world fuel numbers are similar to the Ranger, hovering around 9.5 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers. Servicing costs are slightly higher than you might expect, averaging around $500 to $600 per service at a Toyota dealer. But here's the trade-off. HiLux vehicles are less likely to need unexpected repairs, so your overall annual cost over 5 years tends to even out, or even favor Toyota. Resale value is where the HiLux absolutely dominates. A well-maintained HiLux loses significantly less value over 3 to 5 years, compared to almost every other ute on this list. If you buy a HiLux today and sell it in 4 years, you're going to get back more of your money than with most competitors. For tradies and small business owners who think about total cost of ownership, this matters enormously. The Mitsubishi Triton is next, and this is the one that a lot of people overlook, but maybe they should not. The Triton GLS starts around $53,000, which immediately makes it one of the more affordable options here. The new generation Triton launched recently with a refreshed design and updated tech, and it has genuinely impressed reviewers who expected to write it off. Real-world fuel economy comes in around 8.5 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually one of the better numbers in this group. Servicing is reasonably affordable, often coming in under $500 per service, and Mitsubishi's 5-year warranty gives you good peace of mind. The Triton's towing capacity sits at 3.5 tons, which matches the Ranger and HiLux for most practical purposes. The main criticisms have historically been around the interior quality and the ride comfort when the tray is empty. It can feel bouncy on rougher roads. But if budget is a serious factor and you need a capable, reliable ute without the premium price tag, the Triton deserves a serious look. It is not a money trap at all. In fact, it might be the best value per dollar for people who are practical about what they actually need. Next up is the Isuzu D-Max, and this one is really interesting because it has quietly built an incredibly loyal following among people who know their utes. The D-Max LSU starts around $60,000, and for that money, you get a vehicle that is genuinely built to work. The 3.0-liter turbo diesel engine in the D-Max is one of the strongest performers in this segment. It produces solid torque figures, tows confidently, and crucially, it is known for being very durable over high mileage. Real-world fuel numbers sit around 8 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers, and owners consistently report that these figures hold up even under heavy load, which is not something you can say about every engine on this list. The D-Max interior is functional and well laid out, though it is not as flashy as the Ranger or Amarok. Servicing costs are competitive, and Isuzu has built a reputation for transparent, straightforward dealer experiences in most parts of Australia. Reliability-wise, the D-Max has had some issues. There were transmission recalls and some early problems with the new model's software. But Isuzu addressed them relatively quickly, and overall owner satisfaction remains high. Resale value is solid, second only to HiLux in this group. If you are a serious towing person, or you work in industries like mining, agriculture, or construction where the UT needs to perform day in and day out without drama, the D-Max is a very strong choice. And now we get to the one you have probably been waiting for, the Volkswagen Amarok. And listen, the new generation Amarok is genuinely stunning. It looks incredible. The interior feels closer to a luxury SUV than a work ute, and VW has partnered with Ford on the platform, which means it now shares underpinnings with the Ranger. The Amarok TDI 600 starts around $77,000, and the fully loaded Aventura trim pushes past $90,000, which is getting into territory that should raise some serious eyebrows for anyone buying it as a work vehicle. And here is where the money trap conversation really begins. The Amarok's infotainment system and integrated electronics are complex, and when something goes wrong, and statistically something eventually does, the repair costs are not cheap. European vehicles in Australia carry a premium on parts and labor that is simply unavoidable. Real-world fuel economy sits around 9 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers, which is fine, but given the purchase price, you are starting from a bigger hole already. Resale value on the Amarok is noticeably weaker than both Toyota and Isuzu. The market for used Amaroks in regional Australia is thinner, meaning when it comes time to sell, you have fewer buyers and less leverage. VW's service network in Australia, while improved, still does not match Toyota or even Isuzu for coverage in rural and remote areas. If you are based in Sydney or Melbourne, and you drive the Amarok more for the image and the comfort than the actual work, sure, it is a brilliant vehicle. But if you are genuinely working this ute hard, buying it for business purposes, and expecting it to hold its value and stay off the lift, the numbers are not in your favor. Over a 5-year period, the total cost of ownership on an Amarok can exceed that of a HiLux or D-Max by $10,000 to $15,000 when you factor everything in. That is the money trap. So let us do a quick reality check and compare all 5 side by side in terms of the full picture. The HiLux wins on long-term value, reliability track record, and resale. It is the safest bet for most buyers. The D-Max wins on engine performance, towing confidence, and value for serious work users. The Ranger wins on features, comfort, and towing spec for buyers who want a balanced daily driver and work vehicle. The Triton wins on upfront affordability and running costs for buyers on a tighter budget. And the Amarok wins on style, interior quality, and tech, but loses on long-term cost and service coverage for regional buyers. If you are buying a ute purely as a work tool and you need it to make you money, not cost you money, the HiLux and D-Max are your top 2. If you are a contractor, tradie, or business owner who drives a mix of city and country, the Ranger is a reasonable middle ground. If budget is tight and you need something dependable without going broke up front, do not sleep on the Triton. And if someone tries to sell you an Amarok as a practical work ute without talking about total cost of ownership, now you know to ask the right questions. One more thing worth mentioning before we wrap up, and this applies to all 5 of these utes, always factor in your finance costs when comparing. The gap between a $53,000 Triton and a $90,000 Amarok, financed over 5 years, is not just $37,000 on paper. With interest, insurance differences, and higher registration costs on the more expensive vehicle, that gap can grow significantly. Buying for work is not the same as buying for pleasure, and the smartest buyers we have spoken to always calculate the real monthly cost, including everything before signing anything. This was a big one today, and if you made it this far, seriously, thank you. At the Drive Intel, we put a lot of research into these comparisons because we know your money and your time actually matter. If this video helped you see the Ute market a little more clearly, do us a favor and drop a comment below telling us which Ute you currently drive or which one you are seriously considering. We read every single comment, and we genuinely love hearing from people out in the field with real experience. And if you know someone right now who's about to go buy a work Ute without doing proper research, share this video with them. It could honestly save them thousands of dollars and a lot of headaches. Hit the like button if this was useful, and make sure you are subscribed to the Drive Intel so you do not miss what is coming next. We will see you in the next one.